Hello, Georgia lovers. Welcome back to the Dukes of Hazzard, 1979 to 1985, where General Lee roars, iced tea is in hand, and the adventures of Bo, Luke, and Daisy Duke thrill us. This series is about family, freedom, and thrilling chases. Today, let's explore the journeys of 10 legendary stars. What are they like in 2025? What are their lives, careers, and dreams? Join me, as a friend, to find out with all the nostalgia. Are you ready? John Schneider, born April 8, 1960, transformed into the good old boy Bo Duke when he was just 18. With his bright smile and blonde hair, Schneider made General Lee iconic. I remember watching him at night, feeling like Bo could jump over any hurdle in life. Were you as obsessed with the star as I was? In real life, Schneider is a multi-talented artist, but his life has been full of ups and downs. He once shared that playing Bo reminded him of his free days back in his hometown of New York. One story I heard, during filming, Schneider wore a necklace from his mother, saying it helped him get into the role of Bo. Freedom is the heart, he said, his eyes lighting up. Another time, he made the crew laugh by pretending to race cars with Tom Wopat on set. After Dukes, Schneider appeared in Smallville, Jonathan Kent, Dancing with the Stars, and released more than 10 country albums. In 2025, he is producing an independent film and running a studio in Louisiana. However, he has faced legal trouble, been incarcerated for financial disputes, and divorced 3 times. Every time I watch Bo, I think of Schneider, a man who lives life to the fullest, despite his scars. Can you feel his passion?
I can't run, I can't hide, I'm gonna go to jail.
What was it like actually walking?
In a strange way, I found justice in jail. I found pay, temporary.
On country music.
You left a home.
Tom Wopat, born September 9, 1951, brought Luke Duke, the calm older brother, to audiences at the age of 27. With his deep eyes and alertness, Wopat was the perfect counterpoint to Bo. I remember watching Wopat at night, feeling like Luke always had an escape plan. Did you ever love the character's intelligence as much as I did? Offstage, Wopat was a musical and stage talent. He once said that playing Luke reminded him of his days working on a Wisconsin farm. One story I heard, Wopat wore an old cowboy hat during filming, saying it helped him get into the character of Luke. Patience is power, he said, smiling. Another time, he moved the cast by singing a folk song during intermission. In 2025, Wopat, 73, is still acting in County Line and released the album Simple Man, 2022. He also performs country music on tour. However, he was arrested in 2017 for indecent exposure and drug charges, which he overcame. Wopat also had roles in Django Unchained and Broadway, Annie Get Your Gun. Every time I watch Luke, I think of Wopat, a man of resilience and unending passion. Do you feel the depth of his journey?
I'm the kid who now I'm watering things. Lie awake in the sawdust.
Catherine Bach, born March 1, 1954, transformed into Daisy Duke, the charming cousin, at the age of 24. With her iconic shorts, Bach became a cultural icon. I remember watching Bach at night, Daisy's smile lighting up Hazzard County. Were you as obsessed with this star as I was? In real life, Bach is a strong woman, but has suffered many losses. She once shared that playing Daisy reminded her of the independent women in her family. One story I heard, during filming, Bach wore a bracelet from her grandmother, saying it helped her get into the role of Daisy. Confidence is everything, she said, her voice warm. Another time, she made the whole crew laugh when she tried to climb out General Lee's window like Bo and Luke. In 2025, Bach, 71, still appears at fan events like Gallatin Comic Con 2023 and has a recurring role on The Young and the Restless. She also does charity work for children. However, she lost her husband, Peter Lopez, to suicide in 2010 and is raising her 2 daughters alone. Bach once insured her legs for $1 million because of Daisy. Every time I watch Daisy, I think of Bach, a strong woman with a big heart. Can you feel her radiance?
You guys have
Because we have great grandma and grandpa, we have their kids, we have the babies, and the babies have their kids. So we have a wonderful thing for us to see that, and that we connected, our show connected.
Denver Pyle, born May 11th, 1920, brought Uncle Jesse, the Duke's spiritual father, to life at age 58. With his deep voice and gentle eyes, Pyle was the soul of the series. I remember watching Pyle at night, feeling like Jesse was telling family stories. Did you ever love the character's wisdom as much as I did? In real life, Pyle was a veteran actor with more than 200 roles under his belt. He once shared that playing Jesse reminded him of his father, a hard-working farmer. One story I heard, during filming, Pyle wore an old pocket watch, saying it helped him get into the role of Jesse. "Family is where you're from," he said, his voice low and sad. Another time, he moved the crew by telling a story about his youth working in the fields. Pyle died on December 25, 1997, at age 77, of lung cancer. After Dukes, he appeared in Dallas, Murder, She Wrote, and directed 12 episodes of Dukes. He also made his fortune in oil investments. Every time I watch Jesse, I think of Pyle, a man who lived simply, but left a great legacy. Do you feel the warmth in his performance? James Best, born July 26, 1926, transformed into the bumbling Sheriff Roscoe P. Coltrane at age 52. With his trademark laugh and comedic style, Best was the king of slapstick. I remember nights watching Best. Roscoe's laugh seemed to ease any tension. Were you as fascinated by the star as I was? Offstage, Best was a talented actor with a long career. He once said that playing Roscoe reminded him of the comedic roles of his youth. One story I heard, during filming, Best wore an old police cap, saying it helped him get into the role of Roscoe. "Laughter is power," he said, smiling. Another time, he surprised the crew by improvising a hilarious fall. Best died on April 6, 2015, at the age of 88, after a prolific career. After Dukes, he taught acting in Florida, wrote plays, and appeared in Return to Mayberry. He also had roles in Hooper and The Andy Griffith Show. Every time I watch Roscoe, I think of Best, a man who exuded joy, despite the hardships of old age. Do you feel the grace in his performance?
It's in 1979, and we've got almost 30.
I was doing Hooper with Burt Reynolds, and I'd written a script, and Dorothy and I were getting ready to go down to Florida on a little vacation, over on a series. And I said, "A series?" And it's
Sorrell Booke, born January 4, 1930, brought Boss Hogg, the Duke's greedy nemesis, to life at age 49. With his white suit and cigar, Booke made Boss Hogg an iconic villain. I remember watching Booke at night, Hogg's mischievous eyes revealing his intentions. Did you ever love the character's obnoxiousness as much as I did? In real life, Booke is a method actor trained at Yale and Columbia. He once said that playing Hogg reminded him of the politicians he met. One story I heard, during filming, Booke wore a gold ring, saying it helped him get into the role of Hogg. "Ambition is the driving force," he said, his voice mysterious. Another time, he made the crew laugh by impersonating Hogg to order food at a restaurant. Booke died of colon cancer on February 11, 1994, at the age of 64. After Dukes, he voiced and appeared on MASH * and Hawaii Five-0. His contract required Hogg not to deal drugs or kill people, keeping the series family-friendly. Every time I watch Hogg, I think of Booke, a talented man who left a lasting impression. Did you sense the sharpness in his performance? Ben Jones, born August 30, 1941, transformed into Cooter Davenport, the good-natured mechanic, at age 37. With his friendly smile, Jones was a trusted friend of the Dukes. I remember watching Jones at night, Cooter's optimism infectious. Were you as fascinated by the star as I was? In real life, Jones is a multi-talented man who once worked as a politician. He once shared that playing Cooter reminded him of the mechanics in his hometown of Georgia. One story I heard, during filming, Jones brought an old wrench, saying it helped him get into the role of Cooter. The work is fun, he said, his voice boisterous. Another time, he made the crew laugh by pretending to fix the General Lee with a pen. In 2025, Jones, 83, runs Cooter's Place, a chain of museums in Virginia and Tennessee that preserves the Duke's legacy. He served as a United States Congressman, 1989 to 1993, and still appears in Unbreakable, 2021. Jones performs with Cooter's Garage Band at fan events. Every time I see Cooter, I think of Jones, a dedicated man with a love of hazard. Do you feel his sincerity? Sonny Shroyer, born August 28, 1935, brought Enos Strait, the naive deputy sheriff, to life at age 43. With his endearing awkwardness, Shroyer made Enos a friend of the Dukes. I remember watching Shroyer at night, Enos's sincere eyes lighting up the screen. Did you ever love this character as much as I did? In real life, Shroyer is a dedicated actor with a warm smile. He once shared that playing Enos reminded him of his friends from his youth in Georgia. One story I heard, during filming, Shroyer wore an old police badge, saying it helped him get into the role of Enos. Kindness is power, he said, his voice soft. Another time, he touched the whole crew by giving them homemade cookies. In 2025, Shroyer, 89, still appears at fan events and had small roles in Ray and Forrest Gump. He also hosted the short-lived series Enos, 1980. Shroyer is involved in community charities in Valdosta. Every time I watch Enos, I think of Shroyer, a simple man with a big heart. Can you feel his warmth? Rick Hurst, born January 1, 1946, transformed into Cletus Hogg, the clumsy deputy sheriff, at the age of 33. With his comedic style, Hurst was the hilarious highlight of the series. I remember watching Hurst at night. Cletus's clumsiness seemed to bring endless laughter. Were you as fascinated by this star as I was? In real life, Hurst is a versatile actor with a long career. He once shared that playing Cletus reminded him of his stage comedy roles. One story I heard, during filming, Hurst wore an old straw hat, saying it helped him get into the role of Cletus. Fun is the key, he said, laughing. Another time, he surprised the crew by doing a funny dance in the middle of a scene. In 2025, Hurst, 79, is still acting in independent films and appeared in Steel Magnolias and In the Heat of the Night. He also does voice acting and teaches acting. Hurst lives a quiet life in California, enjoying time with his family. Every time I watch Cletus, I think of Hurst, a man who brings joy, even though he lives quietly. Do you feel his charm? Byron Cherry, born April 17, 1955, took on the role of Coy Duke, Bo's surrogate cousin, at age 27 in season 5. With his handsome looks, Cherry was a breath of fresh air. I remember watching Cherry at night. Coy's enthusiasm seemed to bring Hazzard back to life. Did you ever love this character as much as I did? In real life, Cherry is close friends with John Schneider and competed for the role of Bo. He once shared that playing Coy reminded him of his adventurous youth. One story I heard, during filming, Cherry wore an old bandana, saying it helped him get into the role of Coy. Adventure is life, he said, his eyes lighting up. Another time, he made the whole crew laugh by pretending to drive General Lee in a parking lot. In 2025, Cherry, 70, participates in charity work, and appears at Dukes fan events. He also has small roles in independent films and runs a small business. Cherry lives in Tennessee, enjoying family life. Every time I watch Coy, I think of Cherry, an optimistic man, even if only briefly on screen. Can you feel his freshness? Those evenings watching the Dukes of Hazzard with my family, laughing at General Lee and Boss Hogg schemes, were memorable. Even though I have no personal memories, I feel the joy through you. The stars, even though some have passed away, still live in our hearts, reminding us to live passionately and love. A tribute to them, the ones who brought laughter, action, and lessons about family and freedom. Rewatch the series, smile, and remember your youth. I love Bo Duke because of his indomitable spirit. Who is your favorite? Share and live fully like them.